Hey, I'm Dave. Welcome to Shop Talk. Tonight I'm joined by my co-host Glen, as always, who brings us the first question from last week's viewer videos. Glen, what do you got first this week?
First question, CJ Sebas. It's about the pocket router stuff. We're going to start with all that. What am I missing by using a standard home router versus getting something like this Slate? From what I see, bypassing a captive portal as well as USB power are key, but what else?
You lose, if you've got the display, you lose that QR code on the front that allows you to join the Wi-Fi really easily. It depends what feature set your home router has and how big it is that you're carrying it around. Normally a pocket router is small enough to fit in your pocket. And there's usually features entitled or targeted at travel like VPN and things like that your home router may or may not support natively on a small router. I don't know if VPN comes on small routers usually, but so a number of features like that are targeted for travel would be the main things, I guess.
Okay, cool. And Derek Morrissey says, can I set it up with the same SSID and password as my home network? Assuming if you're going to travel, then all your kids and your family are already going to connect to it?
No, that won't work. They would still have to connect to your router, and you can't use the same SSID. So even when before I had Unify in the house, I had one at each end, and they were like Netgear on one end and Linksys at the other. Different SSIDs, so you could browse and wander from one to the other and still get service, but there was one had no knowledge of the other, that kind of thing. So You can't just give it the same SSID and have that magically pick up.
I guess there's two follow-ups to that. If you used it as your home router and then the whole family goes on vacation and you take it with you,
that works.
Then it would have your SSID. And I guess the other thing would be if you used it only for travel, could you set it up with your home SSID?
Yes, but it wouldn't buy you much. The devices would not automatically join it.
Oh, really? Even with the same SSID?
Yeah, but I could pull up to your house, have my Wi-Fi access point called Glen's house, and you guys would all join my Wi-Fi, and I would spoof you. So there's more security going on to that. It's not just the SSID.
Right.
So at the time you enter your credentials, it pairs to whichever one you're talking to. So you could do a man-in-the-middle attack by spoofing the SSID, but you can't drive up after everybody's paired and just provide that SSID and take over the networking.
And my response to you saying you could show up and spoof my SSID proves that I'm pretty spoofable. Duh. Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, I just asked the questions.
Well, lucky for you, it doesn't work that way.
PMNCC 1701. Someday, could you show us newbies how to configure remote router to talk to your home router when you're halfway around the world?
Depends what you're trying to do. Are you trying to VPN back to your house? I'm going to guess that's the scenario he's talking about.
Well, I think there's another question right after here. Bottom up 12 says more information on tunneling back to home router, Dave. So it says, it seems like black magic. Are you some kind of wizard?
No, but the reason I didn't do it in the episode is because it really depends on what home router you have and how to set that up. And there's 50 different brands of home router, and it'd be hard to cover them all. I could certainly cover VPN between two common routers or even two of the travel routers. If you were using one at home and one on the road, that would work for sure. So it really varies depending on what system you're running at home to set up your open VPN server. So I can still do it. It just would only be applicable to people running that server. So.
Yeah, it sounds like folks, when they heard you say that, were like, whoa, what? How do you tell me how I do this tunneling back home thing? There may be interest in an episode that talks about that in sort of generic terms or ultra-specific terms, I guess.
Mine set up on the Unify. I could show how I set that up and then connect to it from the travel router. That might be useful.
Yeah,
so I'll look at doing that.
Okay. Drendor100 has a pretty technical question here, so let's see. Says he's in the market for a new router with at least 2.5 gigabyte LAN ports on it, one for WAN and one for internal LAN. His internet is now 1.5 gigabytes down. His internal network is all 2.5 gig already, and he's got 2 Unify Wi-Fi 6 APs. Access points. His current MikroTik router works well, but is not user-friendly and has no 2.5 gig upgraded version to go to. He's been considering getting a UniFi router, which would match his APs, though he's not sure if that's a really big advantage or worth worrying about. So what 2.5 gig router would you suggest he considers upgrading to at home?
Well, I like the UniFi Dream Machine Pro, but that's going to be overkill, and that's about $800 for a UDM Pro Max. I would say your cheapest and best bet would be a Slate 7 because it has everything you want. That it has the WAN and the LAN port, both at 2.5 gigabit. It does all the routing, is very friendly. So it's really got everything you need in a home router for that scenario.
And what's the price point in the US? It's under $200, is it?
Oh, yeah, it was like $120 on Black Friday. It might be $140 now, but they're not expensive by any stretch. So we'll try to remember to put a link in the video description again. But
yeah. And so back to that point again, like, I mean, for myself too, I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 year old router. Like, I'd probably be super well served by just getting one of those, using that as my home router.
Yeah, I got really good performance with it. I was getting 2 gigabits a second on the Wi-Fi. So
okay, so if I'm a bit of a easily spoofed and not super smart guy on this stuff, is there any disadvantage to me using this travel router as my home router, or should I be spending my money on getting a real dedicated home router that's not a travel router?
No, if you don't need any of the industrial features, like on my Wi-Fi, I have multiple SSIDs. I have a guest client. I can do guest mode networking. Can it do VPN? I'm not sure if it can do, or not VPN. What's it called? Where you partition off a segment of the LAN. VLAN, I'm sorry.
Oh, VLAN. Okay, virtual.
Yeah, so the UniFi stuff will handle VLANs and stuff like that, but I don't know if the travel router will. But that's getting pretty industrial and esoteric. I would say that for 99% of the cases, the current travel router probably covers all those cases.
Wow. And then it's got, what, Wi-Fi 7 as well it works with?
Yes. No, it's not tri-band, so it has 2.4, 5 gigahertz, but does not have 6 gigahertz. But 6 gigahertz is really good when you're in the same room as the AP. You get a really high frequency, high bandwidth connection to it. But like I said, I was getting 2 gigabits standing here in the shop, and that's plenty. So
yeah. How many people are getting 2 gigabits in their
Wi-Fi?
core service?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not getting that in your core service that you're paying for, it doesn't matter if your Wi-Fi does that.
Right. If you get 1 gigabit down, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, there's definitely a few folks that have limits in their network. I've discovered a couple of my own recently too, which is embarrassing. Kieran K. My experience of hotel Wi-Fi is that they tend to be pretty slow or data capped, so the pocket router isn't going to help with that very much. Have you experienced the same thing, or is it you that's tanking the Wi-Fi for everybody else in the hotel?
Yeah, probably it's me. No, I know that the Wi-Fi speeds are capped on the Wi-Fi, but what I've found is that if you can get the Ethernet jack, that's not capped. Now, it totally depends on how they've built out their network infrastructure, but if you can just get a raw port which gives you Ethernet or internet connectivity and plug in and it's uncapped, then you get a really high speed, high bandwidth connection. If they VLANed it off and limited, that segment of the network to 100 megabits or something horrible, you're not going to get around that. But I've never run into that. It's possible they could do it, but I haven't seen it.
Bruce Patterson says, I can make my phone into a hotspot. Why do I need a pocket router?
Well, a couple of reasons. Your phone has a limit on the number of clients it can connect. I think it's somewhere around 4 or 5 for Apple devices. At least that's as far as I was able to get when I was testing. And I had some other reasons in the actual video that covered the difference with tethering versus this. I refer you to the video for a more detailed explanation.
That's right. Backyard window. How do you expand the size of these portable networks? Oh, this is actually, this one I found fascinating. So he does lighting on film sets. So a mesh network seems like it makes the most sense, but he's wondering if these GL products could meet his needs for cheaper. He says essentially he needs a main hub that connects to his iPad as he moves around set and also connects to his lamps. Can he extend the hub with repeaters, or does each repeater take on its own network name? He said it'd be a hassle to reconnect my lamps to different repeaters as they move around a large set. But I thought that was an interesting application for these portable routers on a movie set.
Yeah, I've not done it, but I know that the Slate accepts a mode where it is called the Wi-Fi extender, and you can extend an existing SSID or whether it does a new SSID or the existing SSID, I'm not sure, but you can extend an existing Wi-Fi network. So what he would want to do is have one Slate 7 at his laptop and make that the main one, and just set up a Wi-Fi network like normal. And then set up all your extenders and pair them as extensions of the main network. And then wherever you take the main network, presumably they can join to it and they will mesh with it. And then you do it. All your devices should be able to connect.
And what's the range of this Slate 7 then?
It's just standard Wi-Fi range for 2.4 gigahertz, so 100 feet or whatever. But it depends how often you put the extenders and where you geographically put the extenders as well.
Zeitgeist. I like the idea, but how do you log on to a hotel Wi-Fi when it requires going through a browser and entering the hotel room and name? And I think you talked about in that video, but
yeah, there's 3 ways you can get around that. One is if you use the new login mode on the Slate 7, it will pop up the captive portal right on your laptop where you're managing the router. So you go into the router's admin page, turn on login mode, open up the Wi-Fi, and you should get the captive portal. If that doesn't work, you can just browse to it absolutely totally separate from the Slate 7, connect to it from your Wi-Fi, and then clone your Mac ID so that the next time you connect with your Slate 7, it thinks it's the original. And so it will already have gone past the captive portal, and you won't need to do it again.
Pyography. I like this. Says, hi Dave, great video as always. Quick question for anyone who knows. I can't see, literally, not figuratively. So, legally blind dude.
All right.
That's why your mention of the switch on the side, the VPN switch. Is it a VPN switch or do you code it as what you want it to be?
It's a switch, and then in the UI, you tell it what you want to do, and VPN is one of the options.
Right. So that physical switch really caught his attention. He says the touchscreen scares him. Again, not being able to see, I can see that.
Right.
He says, my printer has when it's impossible to set it up without sighted assistance. That junk drives me nuts. Is there anything you have to use the touchscreen for on this router?
No, not that I set it up totally without touching the screen. And so it's handy to the sighted people who can get their QR code or the current status. But if you're getting it through the browser and through text-to-speech or however you're getting it, you can get all the information you need and you can see everything you need to see and control everything you need to do without touching the thing ever in person.
Great. And he's got a follow-up too. He says, if it's connected to Ethernet, can it serve files from a USB drive?
Yes, I did not test that with this one, but I did it with my old Slate AX. You just plug a USB stick in, and it acts like a little NAS. It's kind of handy.
Gotta get
Does
one.
it all.
And this friend of mine, he watched the video, and he's like, I think I need one of those. And then he's going to get one. Going to visit his parents in the UK, and he's, I'm sure my parents' modem is like 10 years old and horrible. He says, they need one too. So, yeah, I'm telling all my friends, you need to get one of these. And I need to get one first. Then I can start preaching, right?
Yeah, there you go.
TH1207. Is the Slate 7 backwards compatible with older non-Wi-Fi 7 devices?
Yes. You won't get Wi-Fi 7 speed, but you'll get, whatever Wi-Fi 5 or 4 or 3 or whatever the old ones were, 802.1.ax or whatever they were.
Okay. Helipilot UH. Do you recommend a good cellular modem for the GLI? Says you're currently using a travel router, but my job takes me to places with intermittent phone Wi-Fi, and I'd love to have automatic failover to cellular.
I've never used one, so I'm not a good person to ask. When I set mine up, I did tethering to the phone, and that worked pretty well.
Okay.
But you can get a USB with a little SIM card and the whole deal in it, and they're expensive because you got to pay a monthly fee for the line and everything else, so that's why I don't have one. But yeah, you can plug them right in and it works well.
Kent Oriyama says, for cellular tethering, do you need to change the TTL value of the router to bypass any sort of throttling?
Not that I've found. I just leave it at the default. I have tried it at 9,000 to see if it can do max MTU the same as my network, but I've leave it at the default, which is 1,500 or whatever. Oh, he's talking about TTL. I'm talking about MTU.
Okay.
Well, my little speech was about MTU.
But it was a great speech. I mean, it was good. Yeah. Can you do it again, except with the TTL reference this time?
Yeah. So just change every MTU to TTL, and that'll be the same story. No, I don't think you have to. No, I think you're fine.
Okay. I like this throttle question here from John Bjorkback. Can it run its own DNS service? And then he says, also, can you throttle traffic as well to keep the kids from wasting the whole internet budget by streaming in 4K to their devices?
First question, I did not see a way to do it. Second, I don't see a way to rate limit the outgoing ports or clients. So that would be an example where if you have an advanced home router like a unified Dream Machine or something like that, you can maybe access those features that you're not going to find on the travel router. And there's lots of business features that you're not going to find on there too. But
Evan Callback. I've heard that cruise ships are very adept at finding such devices. So I'm guessing you've never had an issue?
No, I heard a story. Where it must have been in the comments about somebody getting their travel router taken out of their luggage by the cruise ship. Now, if it was full of liquor, I could understand that. But why are they just, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. So.
And then Evan has another question. He says, Dave, does the pocket router you use have a common MAC address that can be traced back to the manufacturer?
It does, but I cloned and randomized mine. And that's an option in the Slate 7 UI. You can say, do you want to use the built-in one? Do you want to use a random one? Or do you want to clone the host machine? And so you get those three choices.
And so which option do you choose?
I chose to clone my Apple or my MacBook.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I went through the captive portal with my MacBook and then just cloned that Mac ID to the router. And now it's through the captive portal. So.
That's how you pass that.
Yeah.
Pass that on. Kenny NG. Anyone know if you'll get double NAT issue if you just plug it into a LAN internet source?
You might, but it shouldn't hurt anything. I mean, it's not going to be the world's most efficient way to set up networking, but it should still work just fine. And I mean, at wired speeds on a dedicated router, double NAT's not going to be too big of a hit. So
SRS Q7R. I need to take the hotel cruise ship Wi-Fi and put it on an Ethernet cable for a device that has no Wi-Fi and turn off the Wi-Fi from the device. Is that possible? So it sounds like he wants to use the router to connect to Wi-Fi for the feed to an Ethernet connection to another device. Is that what he's...
Well, I think in theory it should support acting as an extender to the existing Wi-Fi that you then turn off the Wi-Fi and just plug into the LAN port. So basically your travel router would join the Wi-Fi and give you a wired access point that you then plug your device into and don't turn the Wi-Fi on that device. I have no idea what this guy's doing, but that's the closest I can get to that setup. So.
Yeah. Maybe he has a PDP-11 with him that doesn't have Wi-Fi and he needs an Ethernet connection when he's
like
on the
my
cruise ship.
1134. It's over on the other side. It needs a hardwired thing.
Yeah. So you could, your PDP-11, you could use this, I mean, but the Slate, essentially connect to your Wi-Fi and then Ethernet from that Slate to your PDP-11 and it's now on the web.
Yeah, that's one of the options in the Slate setup. I have not tested that one, but it should work.
Yeah, cool. Bill Anderson, NS. Wonder if that's Nova Scotia. Who knows? In a hotel with no Ethernet port, so no Ethernet, just Wi-Fi, and he's got 3 phones that he needs to connect to the travel router. Can he still connect the travel router to the hotel?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how you do it, right?
Yeah, you do Wi-Fi repeating. It's not the fastest setup because everything you're doing is being repeated, so it's going to be slower even than the hotel Wi-Fi, if that matters, but not that much appreciably slower. So.
Yeah, so you don't need the laptop plugged into the travel router with an Ethernet cable or all that stuff.
No, but it is a better experience.
Oh, I think I sort of answered my own question. The NS must be Nova Scotia because he says, thanks for the homage to Rusty and Jerome at the end. Says he grew up watching The Friendly Giant.
Oh, okay.
He also loved your license plate, CDN 427, because he's a fellow Canuck. So.
Oh, there you go. Canadian 427.
There you go, Bill. K6 USY. Does it have IPv6 support? Says he often opens VPN to his house to gain access to a dual stack connection. Says, but most hotels are IPv4 only.
Yeah, I don't know if it supports IPv6. I bet it does because it's just based on OpenWRT, and I imagine OpenWRT does. So I don't foresee an issue except that you're going to have to interact with networks that aren't IPv6, like the hotel Wi-Fi. So
right.
There may be limited scenarios where you can actually use it. Not sure why you would want to, but if you've got devices that expect it, I guess that would be your case.
Yeah, and just bring a PDP with you, and then you don't need to worry about IPv6.
PDP's got wheels, man. Bring it with you.
One NVR NOS. When do you use the LAN port over the WAN one?
The WAN port is your incoming internet, basically, coming into the router, and the LAN port is the outgoing, so to a device. So you would plug your computer into the LAN port and the WAN port into the wall.
The wall.
W for
the
wall.
WAN port? Yeah. Ah, there you go. Wide and local, right? CSS element. Does this mean I can pay for one GoGo Internet subscription on my next flight and share it with the entire cabin?
Yes. Yes, it does.
You don't do that, though.
I do it for multiple devices. I've joined my
Yeah.
travel router on the plane, and then my laptop, my MacBook, and my iPad. And I could have joined my wife's to it too, but she joined her own. So.
Marko Vukovic. Nice one, Dave. What an awesome little device. Might I recommend a PoE to USB-C adapter to the kit, just in case that is available?
Yeah, I don't think it supports PoE natively, so
Okay.
you would need to, if you're going to power it off of PoE, you'll need a PoE to USB adapter. Okay. Good idea to throw it in your bag if you can.
Marco also wants to hear that 427 beast. So I guess when it arrives in your house,
one day,
you can do that.
One day.
The car that Dave still hasn't really driven and hasn't been on your property yet.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated today. I got a note from them saying, because there were a couple items that I discovered at the show that they need to fix and go through. And then they said, well, the car wasn't fully finished yet because we were waiting on the bumper before the show. And so that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought I flew out there because it was finished. So I've got to clarify what's going on. I don't want to pay for a bunch of work after completion if it's warranty work, that kind of thing. So
Almost
VSLC.
Oh, only in Dade County. Dave, how do you feel about the hardware itself being secure and not a honeypot?
Well, at least the software is based on OpenWRT, and that is open source. So if you wanted to, you could build it yourself, in theory. At least not the Slate part necessarily, but the underlying OpenWRT router code you can. I don't know if the rest of it's open source, but
Humble Hauler says, Dave, could you go through some recommendations or possibly an overview of what VPN to set up in the scenario at home? Tailnet?
Or Tailscale. Yeah, I'm going to have to do an episode on VPN to get home. I'll do that. I'll put it on my list.
VPN to get home, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I do it all the time from the airport.
I thought you said
oh.
VPN when I get home. It's like, you're at home right now, aren't you? So
Yes. No, it's like when I'm in the airport, if I forgot something on my Mac, well, I can VPN into my home LAN and just browse right to the actual desktop machine that I care about. And, it can be super handy for that kind of thing. So
Larry Blount says, and what is your favorite VPN provider? Now, I don't know. You may not want to reveal that now. You may want to wait till the episode on VPN, but I'll leave that.
Yes, I plan to ooze sincerity for the highest bidder. So VPN providers, please contact me.
I don't yet have a favorite. It could be swayed.
I'm still making my decisions.
Yeah. How about the favorite VPN provider is the one you're using?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, we'll leave that. TexHogger, could you show and explain how to set up a VPN on these two so we can have access to our home network from anywhere? Looking for an easy way to connect our network here in Texas with his parents in Washington so he can help them with their computer things remotely. There you go. Lots of folks looking for that. So we'll wait.
All right.
Will that come before or after we get that swirly lamp episode done?
It'll probably be before the swirly lamp episode. That's my bet.
Okay, Dave Fitzfish says, on Delta flights, I'm kicked off frequently because of VPN use. I have to disconnect the VPN and reauthorize. Any idea if this router will do the same?
I don't know. I've flown Delta and I've used VPN. I've never had an issue. I wonder if they particularly look for, I don't know how they can tell if you're doing VPN. I guess look for port usage or something, but I've never been kicked off. I could see it actually refusing to connect, but I would bet the drops in connection are not related to policy and more a technical issue.
And you've got multiple devices connected to your Delta.
Yeah, I don't know if I've done multiple devices and VPN at the same time, but I know I've done both.
Okay.
So.
Okay. My Cloud VIP. Awesome video, Dave. Is a WireGuard video in the making? Would love to learn more about it.
I have to probably just use LLT or LT2B. I don't know what it's called, the acronym. I'm not going to guess. But there's WireGuard and there's standard VPN or traditional open VPN. So I'll probably cover them both.
So what's the quick one for spoofy me? What's WireGuard?
WireGuard is simpler to set up.
Oh, okay.
That's the
it's
big picture.
a type of VPN, or it is?
Yeah, it is a VPN.
Okay.
Well, it's like a VPN. It is a VPN.
Okay.
I think.
Paul J. Stevens. Oh, wow, how cool. Steve Austin, the $6 million man, and Jamie Summers, Bionic Woman. Throwback to my childhood. What's the story behind these action dolls?
I had a $6 million man as a kid, and so got one off eBay, and then as Christmas presents and that, I've accumulated the Bigfoot and the Jamie Summers to go with it, and I had Oscar Goldman as a kid too, so I've still got that and his briefcase.
And you've got I always call him the Sasquatch, but it's the
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, that's right. Exponent Mantis. What was it that flew over the moon in The Friendly Giant? Was it a cow? I think that was the cow jumped over the moon.
I think the cow jumped over the moon, yeah.
Yeah. And the
Little
knife
boy
ran
Blue
away
and
with the
man
spoon or something?
Yeah.
That's a nursery rhyme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one my mom told me, but I don't remember all the words.
There's something about cheese in it too, or no? Or is that a different one? I don't know.
Isn't it Little Boy Blue and a spoon and the man and then ran away with a spoon and jumped over the moon? And It all rhymes. I don't know if it's all the same nursery rhyme. I might be mixing two.
I don't think we've quoted it exactly as it's written.
I wouldn't write it down.
Yeah. Alexander W. for you says, you guys leave the house? He's kind of making a funny joke, I think.
Not on Wednesdays.
Not a Wednesday night. Nexus 13. Dave, are we going to see Rusty and Jerome in your next video? There's some more Friendly Giant stuff.
You may see the Sesame Street aliens. That's the best I can do.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Some legal clearance first, or?
I'm just going to assume that the goons from the Children's Television Workshop will not attack me if I do it, but we'll see.
Oh, boy. Okay. Woodand, he's jumping in it here. Did I miss the rest of the series, Learn to Build an AI to Play Tempest Step by Step, where you state, this is the first in a series of episodes?
Yeah, there just wasn't a lot of deep interest into that episode. So, I mean, it got some views, but it didn't really move people, so I didn't think a bunch of follow-ons were going to be all that useful. So I'm still working on it, but in private, not documenting it.
Poison Panic. Oh, this is a good one too. Dave, what bag do you use to carry your tech in? Says he's been using a Bag Smart double-layer travel organizer, which holds his TP-Link N300 nicely. But with the travel routers getting bigger and bigger, I don't think my current solution will work. Well, I mean, that Slate's a tiny little device.
It's pretty small, yeah. I fire mine in. It's a Toomey backpack, and I have a Toomey rolling luggage carry-on, and they're kind of made for one another. And the Toomey backpack has a laptop slot and then a pretty big bag of gear that you can stuff in there. And I've got headphones and batteries and all kinds of stuff in there. It gets heavy, but lots of room. So.
And at the end of our last shop talk there, or in our shop talk, you were talking about some of the cars. Someone asked a question about your sort of what cars you'd like to have. So you mentioned an eSpeed 27 says, which of the unique features of the 3000 GT Spider intrigues you the most? Says he still has this 96 SL. Excellent car.
Cool. I like the weird V6, the twin turbos, the all-wheel drive. It's a feast of Japanese technology that's probably a nightmare to fix if you don't have all the right documentation and computers. But it was kind of like the high watermark for weird high-tech Japanese cars. That's kind of why I like it.
And what year was that again?
94-ish.
Okay. So you're already in Seattle by then, but that was kind of one of those, ooh.
Yeah, our VP had a Dodge Stealth RT, which is the American branded version of the Stealth. Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense now. That first time I ever connected those two things.
Same car.
Okay. Mike Scott says, he's asking about your car. He says, so in Canada, it's a 427 because of the metric system?
No, I just did an episode explaining the whole market structure, and it'll be out tomorrow. So it'll be out at the same time this shop talk is. So check Dave's Garage for a feature on the car, and it will explain why the models are different in Canada and how they made them different and so on.
And it's a beautiful piece you've done on that thing, Dave, that video about the car.
Well, thanks. I hope people like it. I'm not sure.
The story leading up to it and all that stuff. I mean, it's really cool how you've documented that. And I think when I said that to you too, you said there's like so much stuff that was left out too. Like there's a tremendous amount of detail just on the build of the car and all kinds of other aspects and the whole story behind all that stuff and all kinds of adventures and misadventures. It's quite a tale, but what a great story. So if folks, even if you're not really interested in cars, it's a hell of an episode to watch. So make sure you grab that. It probably comes out the day before this does. So if they haven't seen it already, they better go watch it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll try and put a link on the back page of this thing too. See if we can link to that. That'd be cool too.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
My left 9397. He's going to hazard a guess that the darkness question that we had in our last shop talk was about how can the OS calls that an app for NT makes still work on Windows 11. It says, are those NT APIs still present in Windows 11?
Yeah, they basically never take APIs out. They add to them.
Okay.
But for compatibility reasons, once an API is shipped, you really can't change it or take it away.
I like this last one. He says, maybe we should try running NT Notepad and Paint. Great videos always, guys. I'm like, it's funny he mentions Notepad.
Yeah.
You just released
I just did one.
Yeah. And I was going to include some questions from that episode in this, but it's only a day old, so I thought, we'll leave that. So we'll cover all those Notepad. What did you say? You de-invented it or something? What was
unimproved
the term again? Unimproved it. I'm going to use that unimprovement. I think there's a few things at work I could unimprove. Sound Spark. What's your take on that Twitter user that today, or whenever he made this comment last week, made a call to action to not update to Windows 11 and even suggested using pirated LTSC?
Well, that's be a crime. So, yes,
Yeah.
I also recommend that you buy your food and your cars and your clothing as opposed to stealing them from the mall. So,
and again, I think it's always, whatever. We won't get
I'll probably
into
come down on the side of paying for your software, too.
Work on supported software is probably better than on unsupported software. But
Yeah, switch to a supported version of Linux before you steal or use an unsupported version of Windows, I would imagine.
Sock Petra, I would, he's got a timestamp here, 18. He said, I would respond, what aspect of age necessitates refactoring?
Yeah, I don't think there is anything about being old. I agree.
There you go. Troll Doll. Microsoft Decathlon? I think that was the game that brought the phrase face fault into my vocabulary. Do you remember that phrase?
It sounds familiar.
Would that be like when you, does that throwing the javelin or something when you fall
or
down?
the long distance jump. If you don't make the jump, maybe you run into the sand pit or something.
Okay.
I don't know which event that's from.
Junk Mauler. Can you lobby someone to add NPU per task usage to Task Manager? I can't believe they would add NPU usage tracking, but not add a per task ability to see what is using the NPU. Seems so sloppy.
Yeah, I don't know enough about NPUs and tracking their usage to give you a really good answer on that, but it might be that the NPU is not attributed to any particular process because it's running and doing things on the behalf of processes, but the process isn't waiting on it, so it's not gated by it, that kind of thing. You could still probably attribute it to a process, but...
Yeah, you don't know, but that sounds like a great answer. And you're probably right-ish. Simon Lathwell. Is it possible to port Task Manager with all the required files like the DLLs from an NT4 disk and get it working on Windows 95, 98, Me?
No.
Millennium Edition?
No.
Okay,
all kinds
bother.
of APIs that are specific to NT that do not exist. Yeah, Task Manager talks to the NT kernel, so that's not there on Windows 95.
Sumi Kome, fun fact. msconfig is, as far as I know, the easiest way to get into safe mode these days without going through a million ambiguous menus and rebooting twice just to get into safe mode.
Well, that's good to know.
You just run msconfig and check safe boot on the boot tab with your preferred safe mode, set like network, minimal, etc. It says when you want to boot regularly, run msconfig while in safe mode and uncheck safe boot.
Probably much easier than trying to catch it early in the boot and hit F5 or F8 or whatever. So
yeah. Tech for Music AI. Hey Dave, here comes a random question from an audio enthusiast. Oh yeah, I think we've had some stuff like this before. How come Windows never fixed its high latency on its default sound system, considering it holds quite a share of the audio producer audiophile market? You don't have
I
any
think the main
expertise in
reason
that,
is
eh?
it's gotten better over the years, but the main reason is that the Windows stack has to cover such a broad variety of devices and features, whereas on the Mac, that just kind of has to work with the Mac, and there's only about 4 or 5 different Macs. So instead of 1,000 different sound cards and PCs and chips and stuff that you find on all the different PC motherboards, the Mac one is a very small, tightly organized, and easier to handle ecosystem. So because of all the extra features, functionality, and compatibility they build into Windows, it has some more latency, but it's not like the olden days when Windows had like tens of milliseconds.
JMan642's got some car-type questions here for you in that episode. When are you going to be on Jay Leno's Garage with your 2+2 or something else?
As soon as somebody invites me or tells me how to get in touch with those guys. So that could be a good episode for them. But
The other one he's got here says, is that your daughter with you in the Mcacn photo?
No, ask my wife.
And bonus question, Dave, how tall are you?
6'2". My wife is not.
So that'd be like, what, 4'26"?
Yes, it would. 426.
4'26". Michael of Rohan, why is my notification bell unpersonalized by default? I want all their notifications.
All the notifications. Yeah, I don't know. They keep changing it, so you get subscribing means nothing. Notifications mean very little. You have to really turn it on manually to get that if you want it. So,
and people
I
should.
encourage you to do it for my channel and for the Dave's Attic channel, of course. But
of course.
And if you're not already subscribed, now is a good time for me to remind you to subscribe to Dave's Attic because we're trying to build up the subscriber base. We got a lot of people watching it that aren't subscribed, so it'd be cool if you are a watcher. Become a subscriber. We won't inundate you. It's like once a week. If you're overwhelmed, you can unsubscribe. It's easy, but give it a shot. That's all.
And you
I'd
do
say
have
about
another
that.
channel with Dave's Garage? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes your camera again. It's blooming right now.
Oh, I'm so bright.
Son of a gun. Okay.
That's so weird.
Oh, yeah. Memphisastro asked what I had running on the Mesmerizer last time. I think I responded what I got the maze running today. But yeah, there's how many different programs have you and Rutger got going on that crazy machine now? Like 50?
Yeah, Robert's added a bunch too, so I think it's about 50 some effects, yeah.
So I got to update mine then because I don't think I've got Robert's new effects on there. So
No, you've got a bunch that originate with Robert, I think.
Oh, okay. Great. That's fine. I think that's about it, Dave. I'm pretty much out of questions, so.
Well, la-di-da, let's wrap it up there. Thanks for joining us out here in the shop today, and we'll talk to you next week out here in Dave's Attic, where we answer all your questions. Just make sure you ask them with a question mark in any video on Dave's Garage or Dave's Attic, and Glen will find them, and he will ask them.
I can't ask them all.
Can't ask them all, but we try to.
I try to.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. This little chair will be waiting for one of you, and a rocking chair for another who likes to rock, and a big armchair for two to curl up in. All next time, right here on Shop Talk.